Hey boy. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing a little bit of fencing. Not the fencing that I've been talking about though. Over the last 2 weeks, almost every day, I have had some calves getting out on this ditch alongside the road here. And this property years ago used to be metal welded pipe fence all the way around. They didn't construct it right. They took some shortcuts, got water in it. Eventually it rusted out. They also built this particular section too close to the ditch, so it fell over. They took it out mostly and put barbed wire up, but they only did a 4-strand. It's not uncommon to see a 6-strand on a livestock pasture, but most of the time you're going to see a 5-strand. 4-strand's just not enough, especially for cattle. So I hadn't actually measured to see the spacing on these wires, but they can stick their head through and then pounce out like a deer can, basically, and getting on the road, we don't want. We have a lot of helpers have come up, but for some reason I don't think they're going to be that much help. There is some, I don't even know what this is, but growing up, I'm going to have to knock it down, and you can kind of see 4 strands of wire. What the calves are doing is they're coming up to this gap right here, putting their head through and just jumping in. And I'm gonna run probably somewhere about like this, you know, a little more on their height, but should deter them from getting up close enough to poke their head through. Buy another solar charger. I'm having issues with that Gallagher S20 on the other side over there. This one's a Patriot brand. I've never used it before, so we're gonna try it. Got poly wire. I like this stuff. It's easy to put up. It's durable. We're gonna use it. I've been seeing people using these reels. I've never used one, but it's simple enough, kind of self-explanatory there. Something new I'm gonna do with the electric wire is attach it to these clips on the T-posts that are already up. It's kind of a big expense to buy additional electric post. Not to mention the ground's hard, so I don't even know if I could punch them in the ground anyway. And I want this to be close enough to that barbed wire so that the calves, when they walk up to jump through, they get zapped. In a minute, I will show you the new solar charger we got, but it is significantly bigger than the other two we're using. The one for the goats, and then the one that's the Gallagher S20 down that way. So it should hopefully pack a bigger punch and you know, keep the cows off the ditch, out of the road. Right off the bat, I'm noticing this reel, it's kind of got this little hole. I guess you could feed the wire through there and start it. I guess you could wrap it and tie it to start it. The other brands that were pretty expensive compared to this one actually had a little tie-off bar to get your wire started, but having the, I don't think that's it. Probably just wrap it around, tie it, and we'll get it done that way.
Man, I always had stories about the city life and the crazy nights. Figure I should probably give it a try. Baby, check it out, see what it's all about. But the traffic was fast and the money was slow. The people I met you never get to know. I kinda miss this place I used to live back home. 'Cause up here it's breakneck, paycheck, rat race, what's next?
Well, you see, my help that was up here, they've since moved on. That did take a while. I'm sure it didn't take as long, y'all watching it, but that was about 1,400 feet worth of, was it feet or yards? feet, 1,400 feet of that poly wire. Took quite a while. They've since moved on, so like I said, I didn't think they'd be that big a help. Right now, I get to do some more manual labor because I forgot my weed eater at the house. But whatever these green weeds are, I got to pull them up by hand. And luckily, it's just this little clump here. That stuff you see down there is on the other side of the fence. A few videos back, you saw me and Wyatt mowing the ditch. Well, this 30-yard stretch right here we couldn't get because of how wet it was. And we obviously never came back and did it. But everything else you're seeing is on that side of the fence. Very few of it, or very little of it, is actually on this property. So I'm going to pull that little bit up by hand, and then we're going to start fixing our yellow clips to the T-post. That looks a lot better. Anything you see still standing is on the other side of the fence, and I think I lied a little bit. A lot of what you just saw me rip up or break was actually on the other side sticking through. I got this side completely cleaned up, and yes, I'm gonna come back with a weed eater and completely clean it up properly, but this will give me a few days to get clip here. This hooks onto a nail, a screw, a piece of fence, whatever you can clip it to. Tie your wire to this. It's got multiple slots to where you can tie multiple wires going different directions if you have all sorts of cross fencing and stuff. But I'm not that patient nor that fancy, so we're gonna tie this to this end, take it down to the corner and attach it to the corner here. Still kind of trashy and grown up. There's a lot of debris, a lot of the old metal remnants of the metal pipe fence that used to be here years and years ago. A lot of thorn bush and just weeds that couldn't get to with a mower due to the debris, and then the cattle won't get to it because they don't want to have to step over this, and they wouldn't eat that anyway. It is just a beautiful evening out here. 77 degrees today was the high. Can't complain at all. There's a wasp right there, so I'm going to go this way. We're going to attach it to that wire. I'm going to attach it high so it goes over this. Like I said, in the next day or two, I'm going to come through with a weed eater and trim it, and I'll move it down. And then I'll feed it lower as I get out of this garbage. This is part of the big project I got coming up over the winter after calves get weaned and sold. Uh-oh.
I'm feeling like a small fish in a big pond. I think I'll go back where I came from, where everybody knows my name. My friends are still the same. I guess the slow life hit me just right, like a bonfire on a cold night. Hell, and you can keep it.
There's 5 strands done. It's kind of loose right now. You can kind of see the wire comes over here and under on this side. The clip, it punches in right here, bends around, and then folds around the back side, so it has 3 points of contact. And then the reel, when I'm done, has a locking mechanism, and I can crank it and it'll pull this tight. Let's see if I can do one one-handed for you here. All right. So feed it through like that, punch that around, and then we basically just push it. Just simple as that.
Happy with the simple life. Yeah, I ain't here to try to change your mind, trying to save your time. In case you're thinking about breaking out the bucket list, girl, you can skip this.
I'll pick y'all back up where I attempt to hammer the T-post in the ground to mount the new charger. I really want to show you the new charger. It's the biggest one I've ever had. I'm kind of excited to try it out. Everything I'm using here is Patriot brand, and I've never heard of it before, but the feed store in town started carrying it, and it was one of the only brands there I've not ever heard of or tried before. So we are gonna try it. I'm excited, and y'all stay tuned, and we'll get this job wrapped up real fast. As you can see, it's still a beautiful sky, beautiful evening, but the sun is down, and we're only a third of the way down with the electric wire. All the way to that telephone pole way down there is where we got to go to end. It's not going to take a whole lot, but well, it's dark and they came back, but they're still not really helping much.
The next day,
we did end up finishing last night, but as you can tell from the prior clip, it got dark, and it got dark fast. It kind of got a little spooky south of me, and both east and west, it almost sounded like I was almost surrounded by coyotes sounding off. It's kind of cool to hear, but it's also kind of scary when you're in the dark and by yourself and all that. But we did get the fence done. My fence tester only goes up to 8,000. I'm sorry, I'm looking down. I'm walking directly into the sunlight. But it was hitting at least that. I haven't been able to get one that goes a digital one or anything that could go higher than that, but it was hitting 8,000, so we know it's doing good. I don't know how well you'll be able to see. I wanted to show you the solar panel here though, from Patriot. This is the SG500. It's the second biggest in the Patriot brand. It's got the, let me see if I can show you, 2 knobs here. Unscrew them, put the hot and ground lead on it. It comes with the clips, and you can kind of see they clip directly to the wire and then directly to the ground rod. This one only needs a 3-foot ground rod, so that's what it's got. And it just sits directly on the T-post. You can mount it to a wood post if you have one small enough and it has the screws to help do so. But I'd much prefer to just use the T-post for it. This thing is doing phenomenal so far. It's only been about 24 hours, so we'll know more after a few more days at least. I did not get a message today that I had calves out, so yay for that. The herd's doing good though. They're out about halfway across the field grazing. We've been really blessed with weather. We did get some rain. We got pushing 3/4 of an inch spread over 2 days. Not much, but it helps. Also, temperatures have been hanging in the 70s until mid-afternoon when they hit the low 80s. Humidity's not been an issue, thankfully. But yeah, I mean, everybody's doing good. I'm really impressed with Patriot so far. This is not a sponsorship by Patriot or anything like that. Just trying to be transparent with what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I'm still learning. I'm sure a lot of y'all, even if you don't have cattle, are curious. But this is a good spot to wrap this video up. Thanks for coming along. Please like and subscribe. It helps me out tremendously. We hit the 551 mark last I looked. The goal is 1,000. I never thought we'd even hit 500, but we have. So now the goal is 1,000, and I'm sure we'll get there. Thanks for coming along. I'll see y'all in the next one.